Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We will see some sort of rebound, but in order to climb back to where we were pre-pandemic, that's going to take a while. And the Congressional Budget Office, which is nonpartisan, crunched the numbers, and they believe that over the next 10 years, this pandemic will cost our economy here in the United States $16 trillion.
10 years, $16 trillion. I think most people now are at a point where they're looking around and they're saying, all right, chances are if I get this thing, I'm not going to die. And that's a pretty good chance unless there's something seriously wrong with me. So I have to turn now to the economy. And the economy is a nightmare. The economy is you can sit there and say we're going to flick the switch. It's going to be the greatest thing we've ever seen. We've never seen anything greater than this. We're going to flip the switch overnight. It will rebound, but it is going to take real time. Real time. Flipping of the switch, I said it yesterday. It's not about flipping of the switch at this point. It's about going. It's about getting a new light bulb. It's about screwing that light bulb in. And it's about slowly turning it on. It is going to take a while to get back. It really is. And it's not a bearer of bad news. It's not Debbie Downer. It's the reality of where we are. The fragmented way that this thing has been handled, because every state has the way they have the right to handle it the way they want to handle it, and they have. Some states have been lucky. Other states have been bad at handling it and unlucky as well. We're in a position right now where we're talking about every month we're shut down and not in full flow, that they're talking potentially a year of some sort of recovery. This will be, for many, a lost decade. Now, 70% of us will be fine, but 30% of us are going to struggle.
The economy here in the United States was entirely shut down for most of the last 4 months. And really, when you think about your own spending, if you look at your credit card statement, for example, you're going to see a reflection of the fact that you weren't going to the gas station, you weren't buying coffees, very likely. And that's the thing. We are a consumer-driven economy. Consumers were told to stay home.
And when you do that, you don't spend money. When you don't spend money, the economy doesn't flow. When the economy doesn't flow, people have to start making real decisions about employees, about what they're going to do with their business. And the ones that are open are making those decisions. The ones that are closed, well, they're screwed right now. They don't know. The more business owners I talk to, the more they tell me. The first one I was able to get through, now they put us in the second one. I'm probably not going to get through. And I don't even know if I want to continue to try to open, not open. Right? Open one day, then you're not open the next. You're open, but you can only operate at half. Then the next day, you got to close. It's the same worry that people have with their kids going to school. So kids go to school, they don't go to school. Are they going to? Well, they're kind of. They're going to split shifts. They're going to, and then over here, and one day right here, and then the next day it's at home, and the next day you got to go in the afternoon, and then we may close it down altogether. That doesn't build confidence. Today, the 31st, can you believe August is already here? I said earlier, I tweeted out, I said it feels like time has flown by, and at the same time it feels like time has stood still. But we're in a position where many of those who are unemployed, and unemployment continuing to climb.
We saw more than 1.4 million Americans file first-time claims for unemployment. That means 1.4 million plus new layoffs last week. And the number of unemployed Americans happens to be climbing now as a number of states return. They roll back these reopenings.
Yeah, roll back the reopenings. Pause the reopenings. People are now looking around saying, okay, what's the feds? What are they going to do? How are they going to handle this? Well, the feds are fighting it out.
For 10 weeks, we have asked the leader to negotiate. And now, finally, they've woken up to the fact that we're at a cliff. But it's too late.
Well, it's too late. Well, then why are we even negotiating at all? That $600 a week you were getting from the feds is gone as of today. As of today, it's gone. Republicans want to replace it with another stimulus check and $200 a week. The Democrats want keep it the same for as long as you need it.
If our Democratic colleagues had acted with urgency, unemployed Americans wouldn't be facing a total elimination of this extra help.
They'll both blame each other. At the end of the day, stop pointing fingers and get something done. Make it a clean bill. It shouldn't be that hard. Americans are looking to you. Through no fault of their own, a majority of Americans who've lost their jobs have done so because of the coronavirus. They've been limited in what they can do. Their businesses that they were working are shut down. So at some point in time, you guys have to stop pointing fingers and get busy doing something. Get busy doing something now. I continue to say $400 a week, extend it to the end of the year, another round of checks. But that has to be it. We're going to have to get ourselves back out there, and it's going to take time. But since day one, I've said the chances of us getting rid of this thing anytime soon is slim to none, and we're going to have to learn how to live with it, live around it, and live through it. Because if we don't, the ramifications of a decade are very real. Very, very real. Speaking of how long this may last,
we are working very hard to have vaccines tested appropriately, manufactured appropriately, assessed and approved independently by the FDA, and available for use in the population by the end of this year or early next year.
That is Dr. Monsef Salawi. He's the advisor on Operation Warp Speed. It's going to take time, even if we found a vaccine by the end of the year. It is going to take time to produce it in mass and distribute it. So it's not like, oh, you got a vaccine, away we go.
Now, we will not have doses for the full U.S. population on day one. We will probably have a few tens of millions of doses in December and January, and probably it will be appropriate to immunize those individuals that are at highest risk of severe disease with the COVID virus.
Yeah. It's going to take time. And then you're going to have people out there who don't want to get the vaccine. You're going to have people out there who don't want to get it because they're anti-vaxxers, and some of them who are like, you know what, I don't know if I want this. I believe in vaccines, but I want to see it play itself out first to make sure the adverse effects as this thing is rushed to market to get out to everybody isn't destructive.
They promise us that they will have in 2021 at least a couple of 100 million doses of vaccine, and maybe even by the end of the year of 2021 up to 1 billion. This is what they're telling us. I hope that that's deliverable. If it is, we're going to have what was just promised.
Thank you, Dr. Fauci. We'll see. It's a long way away. It's a long way away. I mean, we're in a position where we're looking at this in months to get this thing potentially ready to roll, and then the production will start, and then the deliverables. And based on what's going on with testing and everything, just look at this, the insanity of what's happening with testing, with the insanity of what's happening with how long it's taking some people to get their test. It's going to be a cluster hump for a while, but we'll get there. But it's going to take time, and there isn't the magic switch that's going to overnight turn things back to normal. But we will get there. But the economy is where people are focused now, because I think most people realize if I get this, I'm going to survive it. May not even know I ever had it. It isn't the death sentence that many people say it is, or at least that was portrayed by some in the media. But the other death sentence is the crushing of the economy. And that's real. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me and text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. It was weird. I got pulled over today. Check this out, Producer Phil. I was doing 78 and a 75.
Really?
Yeah. He goes, you were speeding. I go, well, what was I going? He goes, you're doing 78 and a 75. I said, really? I said, you pulled me over for that? I mean, I just find that, like, weird. Like, normally it's like, if I was doing 88 and a 75, hell yeah. If I was doing, and I had it on cruise control, and here's the problem. My car it's weird to read the little speedometer thingy because the numbers are kind of close together. And the other thing is, somehow it got flipped to kilometers, so I couldn't quite figure out, and I had it on cruise control, and it was like 121 kilometers, and I'm trying to do them, but it was just odd. He gave me a warning, and he was totally cool. But I just thought to myself, that's odd. 78. I'm like, that's a weird thing. It's just kind of like, and it's 78, really? 78? I mean, isn't there like a 5-mile leeway? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me and text the program as well. Nice guy, though. He's a very nice guy. We were chatting. He's like, what do you do? Why are you up so early? I said, I'm going to work. I told him what I did. He goes, you do the afternoons? You've got the other show out here with your partner? I said, yeah. And he goes, oh, yes, I know who you guys are. And I said, oh, wow. Really? Nobody should know who we are. We're radio people. We're not important. HelloFresh. I dined deliciously last night. It's so nice. Look, if I can do HelloFresh, right? If I can do it, anybody can do it. It's delivered straight to my door. It's magic. It's like it's magic. It's delivered straight to my door. I take the food out, put it in the refrigerator or freezer, take it back out of the bag when I'm ready to roll. So it comes in these little paper bags, the HelloFresh, and you open it up. It's got the recipe in there. You assemble it, and you either cook it up, put it in the oven, whatever it is, take it out, put it on your plate, and within 20 minutes you can eat. They got everything. They got surf and turf, craft beer, family-friendly, low calories, vegetarian. Again, if I can do it, anybody can do it. You'll save, too. 40% versus shopping at the local grocery store. 22 chef-curated recipes every single week. Flexible. You can change your delivery days, extra meals, skip a week, whatever. HelloFresh wants to make sure they fit your schedule. Get started today. Number one meal kit in America is HelloFresh. Go to HelloFresh.com. Use promo code Benson. Get $80 off, including free shipping on your first box. That's promo code Benson at HelloFresh.com for $80 off, including free shipping on your first box. HelloFresh.com. Use promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
Are you going to launch an effort to try to delay the election, or was that just a trial balloon this morning?
Well, what I want to explain to people, but it doesn't need much explanation. I mean, you look at article after article, New York's mail vote disaster. Tens of thousands of mail ballots have been tossed out in this year's primaries. What will happen in November? It's a mess.
Is it a mess? It's so funny watching and listening to people try to twist to fit narratives. No. He wasn't suggesting that. He's doing it for our own good because it is a mess. Look, the post office is a mess. I'm not going to pretend that it's not, but it's been a mess for years. Well, you're going to give people more of an opportunity to cheat. I said, show me the mass amount of, and don't send me something where, there was 12 ballots or 52 ballots or 100 ballots I want hundreds and thousands and millions of ballots, because if there's 250 million votes cast by absentee and mail over the last umpteen years, and you've got 1,000 or 2,000, And you're looking around going, so we're not going to do this? Because it's funny when we talk about fraud and they're talking about mail-in and they could do this and they can do that and look at all the stuff and it's only the Democrats, and I start laughing and I'm like, this is ridiculous. First of all, you hit at the heart of our democracy, our democratic republic here, talking about some sort of wackiness of delay. And, I only meant it as, we got to stop this and we don't want mail-in voting. And it's the same kind of crap I hear with the people on the left. It's like, well, people who are poor can't get an ID. Yes, they can. Most states you have to have an ID over the age of 18, for God's sakes. If it's that important to you in life, you will do it. And don't, like people always say everything sometimes we confuse nefariousness and incompetence. I look at the U.S. Postal Service and I think more incompetence at times than I do nefariousness. Overworked, too much to do. Sometimes they don't hire the best. Let's be real. But the whole thought process, it sounds like you're already telling everybody that's on your side, hey, we're going to be cheated and we're going to lose in November. And because we're going to lose in November, it's only because of fraud.
Is the net effect of what you tweeted this morning and what you're talking about now to cast doubt on the results of the November 3rd election?
Well, it's had an interesting impact. I didn't know it was going to be the impact it had. What people are now looking at is, am I right? But not me. Are all these stories right about the fact that these elections will be fraudulent, they'll be fixed, they'll be rigged? And everyone's looking at it. And a lot of people are saying, that probably will happen. Please, Jennifer.
That probably will happen. Who are the lot of people? That's what I'm asking. Because everybody will send me something yesterday when I talked about this, and it was interesting because they'd send you one story and it'd have like, these 8 people were arrested. And then you look and they're like, it's minor infractions here. Look, 1 is too many. We can all talk about that, but you can just as easily have people at the polling stations who can do stuff. So then you're like, oh my God, what about that? It's crazy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
It broke, and people were shocked, and I don't know why we should be shocked in this day and age of anything, but it was interesting. We got to peer behind the world of higher education. Joining us now is a person who covers higher education for the Wall Street Journal, as well as a co-author of a new book, Unacceptable: Privilege, Deceit, and the Making of a College Admissions Scandal. Melissa Korn joins us. And what drew you to this book where you're like, I got to write a book about this?
You cannot tell this whole story in 1 or 2 or 10 or 100 newspaper articles. You need more space, and a book allows you that space. It's just such a crazy story, and I've covered higher ed for a number of years, and I wanted to be able to tell the story of this scandal and the scheme in the context of what allowed it to happen, what the fault lines are in college admissions. So a book-length project allowed us to do that.
Yeah, and it is crazy. I mean, let's be real. I mean, we've always thought people get privileged, people have opportunity and access to a lot of different things, and to think that, they don't get or have the opportunity to do stuff. But never, ever was there anything like this splashed out there of how huge this was. And you guys had some access, didn't you, to the people truly involved in this?
We did. We spoke to a lot of the primary players involved, many of them on background, so you'll never know in the book who exactly we spoke to get the information. But we did have access to a lot of the primary players, including parents and others. And I think, we all know that there are inequities in the system, and that certain people, especially those with money, have some privileges. Everyone knows somebody who hired, a coach for the SAT or an essay prep person, or paid to have their kid go on a volunteer trip to Guatemala so they could put it on their resume. Some of us even know people whose parents have donated hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to colleges in the hopes of getting little Johnny in. But this just went so far beyond all of that in terms of the fraud, the lies, and the complexity of it all.
Yeah, it's nuts. Melissa Korn is her name. She covers higher education for the Wall Street Journal. The new book is called Unacceptable: Privilege, Deceit, and the Making of a College Admissions Scandal. So first and foremost, Mr. Singer, here's a guy who, I wonder to myself, how do you put yourself in a position to say, all right, I've got a master plan. How do I approach both administrators and college coaches as well as parents and bring it all together?
It takes a certain personality type for sure. Singer was an incredibly competitive, driven individual. He always liked to win and win by a lot. And he also did care about some of these kids. He wanted to see the kids succeed, sometimes by taking some shortcuts for sure. So he, kind of put this together piece by piece, and he worked as a college basketball coach for a little while before moving over to college counseling, and he kind of understood how the system operated and where those weak spots were, so he knew how to exploit them very well. He's also very charismatic and won people over quite quickly once he started talking about kind of what the opportunities were. So he, piece by piece, put it all together, from the test cheating, working with a proctor and test site administrators to control these testing sites for ACT and SAT. And he also put it together piece by piece with the college coaches. And some of the coaches even referred others to him to work on this all together.
When did it start to unravel? Because you talk about you have to have everything in place, Melissa, to make something like this go. And it only takes one person to truly just have a misstep or somebody to feel uncomfortable for it really to go, okay, there's a bigger picture here. And I would be in a position like him. I mean, it to me, it always flabbergasts me that did they even think that they were going to get caught at all?
Likely not. They probably wouldn't have done it if they thought that was really a possibility. There were a few close calls, and we go into some detail about them in the book, these kind of near misses where somebody almost called Singer, one of his clients, out on some misdeeds. But for somehow, we say, through inertia and a few other things, people just never quite connected the dots and said, okay, there's something really wrong here, and this is big. So it ended up all falling apart almost by accident when some Boston-based prosecutors were working on a securities fraud case and noticed that somebody that they were trying to get to cooperate in that case had money moving from his account to the account of the then Yale women's soccer coach. And the guy admitted that he was paying off the coach, bribing the coach to get his daughter in as a soccer recruit. And they then flipped that coach to start cooperating. The coach mentioned Rick Singer's name, and it all went from there. And then about 5 months later, they got Rick Singer to cooperate, and he handed over the names of all of his clients and was on recorded phone calls talking to them about everything they had done.
That is insane. Talking to Melissa Korn, the book is, it is unacceptable. Let's be real. The Privilege, Deceit, and the Making of the College Admissions Scandal. You said something about Rick Singer is he generally cared for a lot of these kids. It doesn't feel like, it felt like everybody was trying to do what they thought was an advantage or the right thing for kids, while some were enriching themselves and some were using their money. It didn't feel like they were trying to cheat the world. They just thought they were doing something. Did you kind of get that impression that they weren't awful people, but it was wrong?
Right. I think many of them didn't even consider who would lose out if their child got an advantage. That just wasn't even part of the calculus when they were deciding whether to proceed with these plans. And after the fact, those who have pleaded guilty, many of them have said, I realized I was doing this almost more for myself than for my kid. right? It was a badge of honor for me as a parent to say my kid got into USC or Yale or Georgetown or UT Austin, rather than this is where my kid wanted to go and I could help them do that. They wanted, they saw their success as parents based on what college their child got into.
Isn't that weird? That because when it first started to break out, Melissa, my thing was I feel like all these parents were trying to do something that was for YouTube and for bragging rights. Not YouTube, but Instagram and for bragging rights, rather than for the best interest of their kids. It was more about them.
And that's part of the sad thing here is a lot of these kids would have fared perfectly fine at whatever school they had attended, and maybe even would have found a different or better fit at a different institution. And some of these kids didn't even want to go to college at all. But
that's crazy.
This is the path you take, and the path has to go through these particular schools in order for it to really count, and for me to want to talk about you at the next cocktail party.
Absolutely. That's nuts. Talking to Melissa Korn, the new book, Unacceptable, and it's the college craziness, the Varsity Blues case. Lots of money changed hands. Lots of things happened. Parents are going to jail, albeit I thought there was better ways that we could have done some of these things. Rick Singer, what's up with him?
Rick Singer is currently awaiting sentencing. He is out and about. He has been working on finishing his PhD, actually, which he started many, many years ago. But he won't be sentenced until after pretty much everyone else goes through their trials and everything, just because he's the cooperator. He's potentially going to be a witness at those trials. So he's out and about for at least quite a few more months, because the trials aren't starting until 2021. This is going to drag on for a long time.
What does he have left? Does he have anything left? Because he made some cash, but, does he have anything left, or is this a guy who's basically sleeping on people's couches?
Yeah, he had to forfeit all of the ill-gotten gains. He sold his house in Newport Beach area in California. He's been spotted around at various parts of the country, which I find entertaining. And kind of, I'll even get text messages from somebody saying, "I'm at a restaurant in D.C. I think that's Rick Singer, isn't it?" With a fuzzy photo of somebody at the next table over. So he's not the wealthy guy he was before, for sure. Still to be seen what he'll do after all of this. It's not. I don't think he's in high demand as a college counselor at the moment, and that's what he had made his career doing.
Yeah, I don't think he's been in high demand either. Talking to Melissa Korn, the new book is it's enthralling, the craziness and a peek behind all of the lunacy that goes on in the world of the college admissions, which is nuts. And it's called Unacceptable: Privilege, Deceit, and the Making of the College Admissions Scandals. The kids, because like you said, we saw a lot of this play out, especially among some of the super high profile kids who were trying to be influencers and were high profile in their own right, who really felt, I think, in some ways, didn't even really want to go to college, wanted to make their own path, and felt like they were doing it more for their parents. What's that status like there with the parents and the kids? Is there some that it's fractured and it could be for good?
Absolutely. These are relationships that were really destroyed the morning that FBI agents went knocking on these families' doors and arrested mom and dad. We talk about in the book some of those really brutal interactions between the parents and the kids after the fact, saying, why didn't you believe in me? Why didn't you have faith in me? Why didn't you think I could do it? Why did you do this to me rather than for me? And I think there's, a lot of families are in counseling together, are trying to put the pieces back together, but that is not an easy path for sure, especially for the students who got kicked out of college as a result of all of this. There's certainly a lot of anger and bitterness and frustration and sadness and pretty much every emotion under the sun. We did talk to one of the kids involved in this, and he said he was so angry at his father at the beginning, and then it kind of faded and just turned to feeling a little bit sad for his dad, that his dad even thought this was something he had to do for him.
It is just nuts. It is nuts. So what happens from here? I mean, I look out there, Melissa, and is there more breaking? And I doubt this is the last we're going to hear of something like this, because as long as people have money, as long as people have access and privilege, it may not be the exact same, but there'll be something else that comes not too far behind it.
Right. People will always be looking for an edge. So right now we're seeing a lot of colleges go test optional, no longer requiring SAT or ACT, mostly because of the pandemic. But okay, if a school's not looking at test scores, what else are they looking at? And as soon as college counselors and certain parents know what that new criteria may be, they're going to go and kind of try to find a way to gain that, right? There's always going to be someone trying to get ahead. The final chapter of our book is called A System Reformed, ? And I think we saw some early signs of hope that there would be some changes and some more oversight, and schools saying, yeah, we'll audit applications a little bit more, and maybe we'll make sure that that person who was recruited to join the soccer team actually joins the soccer team, which they weren't doing before. But I think there's still just a lack of admission by many that this is part of a broader problem in the way college admissions for selective schools is approached. And I think until, the first step is you admit you have a problem, right? And I still think until we get there, we're really not going to see major reform in this, and it leaves it wide open to other families finding other edges.
Absolutely. Great work. Awesome book, Unacceptable Privilege, Deceit, and the Making of the College Admission Scandal. Melissa Korn, thanks so much for joining us. And you can get this book anywhere. And congratulations on the book. Very interesting read. And who knows, there might be a part 2 and a part 3 and a part 4 and who knows what else.
Yeah, the story's, as I said, not going away anytime soon, for sure.
Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
Beyonce treating fans to something new to stream this weekend.
You who were formed by the heat of the galaxy.
Her visual album, Black is King, featuring music from her Disney soundtrack album, The Lion King, The Gift. Kermit, Miss Piggy, and the gang debut Muppets Now, also on Disney+, and the documentary Rebuilding Paradise from Ron Howard and National Geographic.
Within 3 hours, it was gone.
Details the comeback of the town of Paradise, California, which was wiped out by fire in 2018. That's available in select theaters and for on-demand rental.
Oh, there's just nothing out there. We were talking about this before the show, Anthony and I. It's like, man, you're scrolling the depths trying to find something that you enjoy. I mean, you can find good movies, but like if you're looking for a series, it's just tough out there right now. It is. And I think the other thing is people want to see other things. They want to see some live stuff. I mean, basketball came back last night. Baseball is still an absolute disaster. And I have no idea what they're going to do.
I really think on a day-to-day basis that they are just making this up as they go and out of necessity. A great example of that, the other day, the Yankees were sitting outside and getting ready to board their bus at 12:15. They had a 1 o'clock exit time, and they got word that, in fact, the games against the Phillies in New York that had been scheduled weren't going to work out. And then they were offered the opportunity to play the Orioles on Wednesday and today. And within 15 minutes, they checked around with their players. Okay, let's do that. And then they wound up going south instead of going north. That's the 2020 season, I think, in a microcosm.
Yeah, this weekend, the games in Philly have been canceled because somebody tested positive. Another Marlins player tested positive. But, people say, is baseball going to shut it down? No, baseball's not going to shut it down. And the reason baseball's not going to shut it down, just think about it, these are the owners who use scab players and were willing in the strike/lockout, depending on what side of the aisle you're on, situation, whether you're, the players, they walked out, there was a strike. They were willing to say, all right, we'll use single A, double A, and scab players. We'll play these games. But baseball has got some issues that are very weird because they are just kind of literally winging it. Because it's not like basketball, right? Basketball came back last night, and they're all in a bubble. The MLS has been going for about 2-3 weeks now. They're in a bubble there as well. The NHL starts their playoffs tonight, or whatever this thing is that they're doing. And while they're in different cities, they're in a bubble. Baseball's different because baseball isn't in a bubble where, okay, well, we're going to just have everybody, in the same state and we can maneuver around. Well, you can play over here and you guys can go play over there. And if they can't make it, this team's, it's not like that. It's treating itself as a semi-normal season where you're still playing in your home stadium, even though you're only playing against the people from your division, as well as the opposite. So if you're in the West, you're playing the American League West, and then if you're the Dodgers, you're playing the National League West. You're not playing anybody else. It's an odd, weird time, and they're making it up as they go. NBA, MLS, NHL kind of have a much easier ride, and next is the NFL, and see what that looks like, and then of course college football. College football is doing everything they can. They're going to play, you got the ACC, and Notre Dame's going to be there. They're going to play 11-game schedule supposedly. Yesterday, the SEC announced a 10-game schedule that's all going to be in conference. So we'll see how that plays itself out. But baseball's got a much different look to it compared to everybody else. And we'll find out what that looked like when it comes to the NFL because they're in training camp now. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We will see some sort of rebound, but in order to climb back to where we were pre-pandemic, that's going to take a while. And the Congressional Budget Office, which is nonpartisan, crunched the numbers, and they believe that over the next 10 years, this pandemic will cost our economy here in the United States $16 trillion.
What? That's a lot of dollars. Yeah. The long road to recovery is exactly that. It is a long and winding road. It is going to take us much longer than people anticipated because this thing has lasted much longer than I think a lot of people thought it was going to last. Chad, it's a hoax. I'm like, you're right. That's what they're going to put on Herman Cain's headstone. Died of a hoax. Come on. Stop with that stuff. Look, I have never been an alarmist, and I don't think it's all that the media in the panic porn that they put out there. Because let's be real, originally it was like, man, you get this, there's a good chance you're going to bleed from your eyes and explode. It's just like Ebola, but totally different. The reality is much different. I don't think it's too dissimilar from a bad flu. The difference, though, and I preface this always to say, the difference is we have therapeutics and vaccines for the flu. I think once we get therapeutics and a vaccine, we'll find out that we can return to normal ways that we did things before, but the economy will still be slowly rebounding. It's not like if we found the magic elixir overnight that we took it and everybody's completely fine, and that by the end of the year we're back to where we were pre-coronavirus, because the damage has already been done. And that's a big if we could find a vaccine by the end of the year. And I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm pretty confident that we're going to have something. Fauci today on the Hill getting grilled.
Because in the early studies in human, the phase 1 study, it clearly showed that individuals who were vaccinated mounted a neutralizing antibody response that was at least comparable and in many respects better than what we see in convalescent serum from individuals who have recovered from COVID-19.
Translation: the vaccine is better than people who have gotten it, got through it, and had the antibodies. Now, when can we get one? That's the big question. And when it happens, how much are we going to actually have of it?
They promise us that they will have in 2021 at least a couple of 100 million doses of vaccine, and maybe even by the end of the year of 2021, up to 1 billion. This is what they're telling us. I hope that that's deliverable. If it is, we're going to have what was just promised.
Again, Dr. Fauci. And will we have it? I'm fairly certain we're going to get some vaccine or 2 or 3. How effective they are, I couldn't tell you. Is it 50%? Is it 60%? 70, 80, 95% effective? How long? Don't know. Is it like the flu? We're going to have to take it every year? Don't know. Is it going to be 1 shot, 2 shot? Don't know. We'll find out. Based on what they're doing, it's a 2-shot process. And then how long that works, that remains to be seen. But once we get through this, yeah, we'll have the rebound. Once we get through this, we will start to pick up steam. But in saying that, the damage that has been done is enough to make people start to realize that this is going to take a much longer time to climb out of. Because even if we started today climbing out of it, people over the last several months have put themselves in a position financially, in many cases through no fault of their own, that it will take them 6 months to a year plus to just climb back to broke or dead even before they could start doing other things. And it's the little things that add up over time.
The economy here in the United States was entirely shut down for most of the last 4 months. And really, when you think about your own spending, if you look at your credit card statement, for example, you're going to see a reflection of the fact that you weren't going to the gas station, you weren't buying coffees, very likely. And that's the thing. We are a consumer-driven economy. Consumers were told to stay home.
Yeah. Now, was it fully shut down, like she said? I mean, people dispute that. But I think by and large, a good portion of the economy across this country and the globe was shut down. Has that paid off? No. How much did we shut down, Dr. Fauci?
We really functionally shut down only about 50% in the sense of the totality of the country.
Should we have shut down to almost 100%? That's what people are asking. You look at Japan. Japan didn't shut down, but everybody masked up. But they're having little flare-ups there. Australia shut down by and large completely, and lo and behold, they thought they were out of it, and they're still shut down, and the virus, we're going to have to learn to live with it, around it, and through it. It's endemic, obviously, not so much pandemic at this point. I think we're starting to realize that this thing is probably going to be a part of our lives, maybe for good, which means we're going to have a vaccine, therapeutics, and build up over time immunities to this. That's why when I look at all the studies for vaccines, I look at the Oxford AstraZeneca study, is because it helps with the T-cell immunity. So you got T-cell immunity and you've got your antibodies. T-cell, just think about it, it's like prevents, fights it off, kind of like a force field over time through exposure. And then you got the antibodies that if you do get it, it fights it off in a much different way. So that one's interesting. At the end of the day, I think any of us will take, outside of China producing one, anybody that we trust will probably go, there it is. Because let's not forget the fact that this is also a race to get a product out there. There's hundreds of billions of dollars to get this thing done. But I think it will get done. But it is going to take time. And even when we have it, delivering it overnight isn't going to be what a lot of people think. It will probably take several months to get everybody who's going to get a vaccine vaccinated. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us and text the program as well. With all of that going on in the economy, the yahoos are still battling it out in Washington.
If our Democratic colleagues had acted with urgency, unemployed Americans wouldn't be facing a total elimination of this extra help.
It's Mitch McConnell, right? The man, the myth, the legend in the Senate, the wizard. Head on over to a person who's also been called a wizard. I think he looks more like a 1980s character actor vampire.
For 10 weeks, we have asked the leader to negotiate. And now, finally, they've woken up to the fact that we're at a cliff. But it's too late.
Well, if it's too late, then why are we still talking? Something will get done. And they always act like, oh, it's too late now, because Washington only acts with urgency, like most people. How many of you listening did your homework or your big book assignment that you had to get done the day before? You're up at 2 a.m, finishing it off. That's politics. That's life. Deadlines. When's the deadline? Close of business Friday. I'll get it done by close of business Friday. Close of business Thursday. You hadn't started it. Close of business Friday. You got it done. Like, that's kind of the way this is. You can't, and remember, our politics, part of it is pomp and circumstance. And they love pomp and circumstance because most of them are pompous asses. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. Text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. Interesting thing. So Trump did something that is, well, it's kind of weird. It's a little reset when it comes to advertising.
In the home stretch here, the president's campaign has pulled all the ads, has taken a pause in buying any television ads around the country. That's very unusual at this point. There is a new campaign manager, so there's a reset on that. But it is another sign that this campaign, the president's reelection campaign, is having trouble targeting Joe Biden, finding something that'll stick, and finding a positive message about what the president's second-term vision is.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like yesterday, and we'll post some of it, that my uncle and I were doing a podcast and stuff, and he's super MAGA Trump supporter, and it's just interesting because listening to people and talking to people who are big Trump supporters, they'll try to tell you, like I ask him, well, what's Trump's next thing going to be? And a lot of it is, well, he's not going to destroy the country. And how many times have we heard that? Like the left said it the minute Trump came in, that the country's going to be destroyed, nuclear weapons, it was all over. We're still here. I remember when Obama won, and it was like, well, we're all going to be in a Sharia law. He's taking everybody's guns away, and you know, this is just going to, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen. It didn't. Trump's having a tough time because he's right now looking at the poll. Oh, we got polls on the inside. I've asked 8 people I know who are really close to me, and they say they're all voting for me. No, polls that are wrong. Let's be real. They've been wrong. The polls were wrong in 2016, but kind of right. Well, how were they kind of right? Well, she did win the popular vote. She didn't win the electoral college, but she won the popular vote. And very few polls had her ahead 12, 15 points. Most of them 3, 4 points, kind of within the margin of error. At the end of the day, Trump has plenty of time, but it feels like there is no direction at this point in time. We'll see. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. You know how close we are? Monday, it will be 3 months till Election Day. Oh, yeah, 3 months until Election Day. Check it out. It's called Purple. It's the grid. Best bed in the world. Slide on into it. They got the grid, right? These temperature neutral gel. It's just the most amazing thing. You don't sleep hot. You don't sleep cold. I passed out last night. I don't even remember falling asleep. I was like, I'm going to lay down. I'm going to watch a little Gunsmoke and then relax. And I fell asleep. My alarm went off. That's all I know. It's just so amazing. I never sleep too hot, never sleep too cold. Firmware I need it, software I want it. It is amazing. It really, really, really is. You are going to love this thing. Risk-free 100-night trial. Free shipping, free returns. Ultra durable. The Purple Grid won't sink, won't lose shape. Pennies a day to enjoy the best mattress of all time. Experience the next evolution of sleep. Go to purple.com/Benson. Use the promo code Benson. $150 off right there on any Purple mattress order of $1,500 or more. Again, pennies a day for something you're going to keep for a very, very long time, and then it's going to change your life for the better. Go to purple.com/Benson. Use promo code Benson for that $150 off. Purple.com/Benson. Terms apply. Chad Benson Show.
Experiencing separation anxiety? That's dumb. Check out Chad 24/7 at his website, ChadBensonShow.com, and on iTunes, free. The Chad Benson Show. Never feel lonely again.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's start in the magical world of Twitter, where everybody fights about everything. United States Postal Service is trending, mostly because it's the United States Postal Service, because they were put in the spotlight because Trump and the worry of what potentially could happen in the world of voting. Yes, mail-in votes. What could happen? Everybody's worried about, there's going to be so much fraud. But when you look, it's so small. And by the way, when people, because yesterday everybody kept sending me stuff, half the time the fraud wasn't even based on mail-in fraud, and it was so scant. A lot of it was based on just like, this campaign did this here, and this, like, I keep telling everybody, send me the hundreds of thousands and millions of people. People can't. It's crazy. But the U.S., here's the thing. The United States Postal Service is going to have to deal with a lot of this stuff. And they're not set up for it in the right way. You want to make that argument, I understand that one. If you want to tell me it's fraud, and fraud is everywhere, and this is what it's all about, it's not working at all. Epstein files being released slowly but surely. What's in there? Some stuff, I'll tell you that, including apparently Dershowitz. There's some people in there that are going to be exposed. I think that's evident. Head on over to Twitter, Herman Cain. NBA back. I watched a little bit of the NBA last night, not much. It was, I don't know. It was good to see sports live, and I don't watch much of the NBA anyways. Football's kind of my thing, and soccer. But I watched a little bit last night, but it was just, didn't do a lot for me. I think it's so anticlimactic now. We want stuff to come back, and I feel like I just don't even know how to describe it. It's just missing something. It is. And then you've got the protest and that kind of stuff as well. And I think a lot of people are in a position where they're looking around and saying to themselves, I want an escape. I don't know if I want to be bashed over the head with this 24/7 and the controversy and who kneeled and who didn't kneel. And we're going to talk a bit about that. Plus, Ellen, man, more and more is coming back. Talk about coming hard at somebody. She is trying to defend herself today, but I think it might be a little too late. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Are you going to launch an effort to try to delay the election, or was that just a trial balloon this morning?
Well, what I want to explain to people, but it doesn't need much explanation. I mean, you look at article after article, New York's mail vote disaster. Tens of thousands of mail ballots have been tossed out in this year's primaries. What will happen in November? It's a mess.
Look, don't confuse nefariousness and incompetence. Have you seen what's going on in New York? Yeah, it is a mess. Postal Service, it's a mess. But look, this is the way I look at voting by mail. It's so funny because everybody I talk to who's on the right side of the aisle, they're all completely against anything like that. And then you talk to them and they're like, yeah, well, I mail mine in because I know me. And then they all have, I know somebody who got 2 ballots. I know somebody. It's that. This guy just sent me he tweeted at me at Chad Benson Show, and everybody's trying to prove a point. My whole thing is look, the minute I see the data, I'm all over. Like, hey, let's stop down. We can't do this. If you want, I think give people a choice. First of all, people are inherently lazy, so they'll wait as we talk about, they'll wait till the last minute to go vote. They'll forget it's too late. They'll just take it in and drop it off, or they'll go to the polling station. But, Chad, look at all the fraud. Show it to me in droves. Not one case here, and look at this, and then this case over here. When you're talking about hundreds of millions of votes over 20-plus years, the research goes back on mail-in votes, absentee votes, even voter fraud in general. And you're talking about a minute. I'm talking about minuscule. I'm talking about hit by lightning, bit by shark, or both, and voter fraud. Then we can have a discussion if it's up to like, hey, 1 out of every 10. Right? It's 1%. It's 2%. This guy just says, well, I'm here in California. No Republican has a chance. Are you being serious? I was born and raised in California. No Republican has a chance, period. You could make everybody go in and vote. Hell, you could give the Republicans 2 votes. They don't have a chance. It's just the way the makeup is. It's nothing to do with cheating. It's crazy. It is. And on the other side, the Democrats. You guys scream and yell about, well, voter ID is suppression of vote. Shut up. It's a bunch of crap. It's a bunch of baloney. You know it, and I know it. Well, it totally is voter suppression. How's it voter suppression? Well, because some people can't get licensed. Why can't you get a license? Why can't you get a license? Well, because of, no, tell me. I want to know why you can't get a license. Why you can't get an ID. Most places in this country, you have to have an ID. If you're over a certain age, you have to have an ID. A state-issued ID. Why can't you get one? What is it about that you can't do? Well, it's expensive. How expensive is it really? How about this? Let's all just have a voter ID. You register to vote. You get a voter ID or something you put on your license like they do in some states, and it's just simple and easy. Right? There you go. Problem. Once you register, but Chad, stuff can go on. Stuff goes on at the ballot box all the time. Well, it's suppression of vote because, no, why can't you get an ID? I'm waiting for that. Why is it tough for you to get an ID? If it's important to you, you will make time to do it. If it's important to you, you will get down and get whatever it is that needs to be done. If it's important to you. I bet you if I told you there was $100 or $200 somewhere, you'd make the time to go get that. You can't go get an ID? Bunch of crap. Both sides play a game when it comes to voting. Here's the thing. There's always going to be some sort of issue or fraud because people are always looking for a way to change the system. When people say, well, you can't look at the past to predict the future. No, you can't. But I tell you what, I look at the past and say, most air flights are safe. Is there a chance? It's really small. But there is a chance. Well, based on that, we don't fly, we don't travel, we don't do anything. We just elect a king. We can't elect him. Who gets to be it? Well, he'll nominate himself and we'll just allow it to happen? Come on. Both sides play this game. Enough is enough. People should have the choice. If you want to mail in your ballot, I got no problem with it. I don't. I think we should be looking to make things better, and we should be looking to get out there and do the right thing when it comes to our elections. And I'm not saying there isn't going to be issues, because you know there's good. I will tell you right now, there's going to be issues on election night. They're going to be lawyering up across the board. Neither side is going to, whatever loses is going to take the loss as, you know what, this person beat me. There's going to be an excuse made. There's going to be lawsuits. That stuff's going to happen regardless of whether or not we mail in our ballots or we're all going somewhere. But it's coming. This year, the election. Trump's not going to have a chance to delay it. Congress isn't going to delay it. And both sides are making up that excuse. What's that excuse? It's like when I was telling producer Anthony, I said, I hear the excuses already. It's like you ever go play sports with somebody, you're going to go out with your buddy and you're going to go do something, and I'll say, I'll race you, I'll do this, that, and the other, and they're like, you know what, yeah, that's cool, but I worked out already this morning. But I didn't get enough sleep. But what are they doing? They're giving you the excuse of why they're going to lose. Both sides are already in that situation. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me and text the program. Love hearing from every one of you. The love and the hate. I'm good with both. I'm good with both. Ellen is getting pretty much only one side.
Here she is now, Ellen DeGeneres. The Ellen DeGeneres Show is under new scrutiny. A source close to the production confirming to NBC News, Warner Media has launched an internal probe into the award-winning daytime series, amid reports alleging a toxic work environment. The source also says the show's host, Ellen DeGeneres, is not part of the investigation, adding it's not about her at all.
So it's not about her. She's a, for lack of a better term, she's a cash cow. You don't want to get rid of that. But it started several months ago where somebody offered like $2 or $1 for every story that they could tweet at him about an interaction with Ellen and how awful she was. Now this is about just the environment itself.
The investigation comes on the heels of a recent report in which one current employee and 10 former staffers allege a culture of racism, fear, and intimidation. They blame senior managers on the show for allowing the behavior.
What goes on behind the scenes is a far cry from what the show represents in their Be Kind messaging and what Ellen DeGeneres herself profits off of.
Yeah, because you think you see Ellen and she's what does somebody call her, the white Oprah? She's the white Oprah. But there are issues behind. And here's the thing. Let me tell you about show business. Show business is as cutthroat as you can find. It is beyond competitive. People, especially the mid-level and employees and the underlings of them, are all trying to do what? They're all trying to kick somebody off a ladder to get on a ladder. That sounds horrible, but that's the reality of it. But now we're in a world of a woke culture. So even an employee who at one time would probably take a lot of crap that they shouldn't have had to take, I've been there. I have been there. Trust me, I have been there. Now it's you go and you start talking about it. You tweet about it. This case is building up. And even though they're talking she's not involved, she's involved. She said she grew so much that she can't be everywhere at once. It's hard when you grow that big, which I understand. But you know what's going on. But it's not just about this, the culture itself. People are talking about, I went to do something with Ellen and I was basically told, you don't look at her, you don't talk to her, you don't do, I mean, it's crazy. And he said, look, I don't know if that was their policy or if that was Ellen's policy, but you're hearing a lot of stuff like that. I think she runs a tight ship. I think she's business. I think she's a lot of things. The culture itself, though, I mean, it sounds like it's ugly and nasty, but when you're making the money they're making, the thought of yanking her off right now, no.
The allegations include ex-staffers saying they were fired from the show for taking time off for medical leave or bereavement. One former African-American employee was subject to multiple racist comments and microaggressions during her time at Ellen, including at a work party.
She was approached by a male senior writer. He made a comment to her along the lines of, oh, I don't know your name. I only know the names of the white people who work here.
Was that a bad joke? Was the context of it like joking around because maybe it wasn't? I don't know, but that's the world that we live in. And I noticed this too. She sat at a baseball game or a game or a football game with George W. Bush, and ever since then, slowly but surely, when she came out and said, "You know what? I listen to people on all sides." And I have friends that have different political spectrums. Slowly but surely, she's being picked apart. And Anthony sent me an article from the Federalist talking about that some people are completely fired. A majority of people, like almost 50+% of people think it's okay to fire somebody because they support Trump. That's insane. Do you realize how insane that is? Do you realize how that insanity, that level of insanity of saying your political beliefs, because it's not on my side of the aisle, and because of that, it's okay to fire you. Not because you did a bad job. Not because you're not a nice person. But because you don't line up with my ideology, that it's okay that they fired you based on that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program as well. My Pillow. So you talk about my purple mattress, and what do I have that goes over it? I got my Pillow Giza sheets. They're incredible. My Pillow's got towels, rolling gold anywhere pillows, duvet covers, necks, and bolster pillows. And they've got a BOGO going on. What's that? Buy one, get one free. 10-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee. Machine washable and dryable. It's just incredible. And the deal they're throwing you right now is amazing. You go to the radio listener special at mypillow.com and use the promo code Benson when you're checking out. If you order Mike's book, so you order Mike Lindell's book, you get the entire My Pillow order. We'll ship to you for free. Plus, you'll get a $25 gift card for your next purchase. The sheets are amazing. The pillows are incredible. The duvet covers, you name it, they've got it. That 60-day money-back guarantee, they're putting their money where their mouth is. Go to mypillow.com. Use the promo code Benson at checkout. mypillow.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
I, you, he, she, it. Lucy is a girl.
Point of personal privilege, please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Shut up, boo.
Ain't nobody got time for that. This is the Chad Benson Show.
The gym's still closed, or maybe you'd rather stay away for now, and that Zoom yoga class is getting, well, a little less zen. Certified personal trainer Sarah Apgar says that's no excuse to become a couch potato.
Outdoor fitness is one of the coolest ways in which we can get our workout in.
She says it's also a good way to catch up with friends or workout buddies you haven't seen in a while.
For example, in the public park, like a social distance, small group fitness program.
Keywords, socially distanced.
Yeah. I go. I don't social distance because nobody's out there with me, but I'll go work out at the park, even in the heat and the nastiness. You can do stuff. You can go for a walk, do stuff like that. It's not that hard, but we have. I mean, that COVID-19 LBs is a real thing. These people. And then I've also seen some people. We got a guy here, Lloyd, who has, since this started, he's dropped like 45, 50 pounds. It's awesome. But I've also, I mean, you know, because you're sitting around, you know what to do. People are stress eating. Their routines have been damaged or completely derailed, and they haven't replaced them with another routine. So it's easy to put the LBs on. Oh, my goodness me. It is absolutely easy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us and text the program as well. Tell you what, it's just interesting as I sit here and talk to some people about voting, and it's absentee voting's fine, but mail-in is fine. So when I have an absentee, when I have my, because it's so everyone, I go, how do you vote? Well, I vote by absentee. So why can't you go in? I mean, you're not sick. You're not, well, because like for me, I was in Europe. I had to vote by absentee. Okay, that's different. It's real. That understand. Work, stuff like that. But for a lot of places, you have to have a reason. They make you have a reason if you're going to vote by absentee. Everybody, it's like jury duty, right? Like nobody wants to do it. Like nobody wants to go and vote. We're lazy. We'd love to have an app, but we can't trust it. I'm like, well, how do you get your ballot in? Well, I mail it. You don't have are you sure? You sure you mail it? Well, yeah, but there's no ferry, or you just don't go outside and throw it somewhere? The battle of this lunacy when it comes to this stuff is crazy. Raycon, best earbuds around. Love them. Love them. You will love them too. Normally you'd spend about $250 when it comes to earbuds like these. You're going to spend well under $100. The sound quality, the noise isolating fit, the 6 hours of talk time, seamless Bluetooth pairing, second to none. You're going to love every bit of these. There's no stems, there's no wires. The comfort. And in this day and age, when we're doing more and more online, where you're listening to your podcast, you're doing video chats, you're making important calls because you're at home, you want that nice noise-isolating fit. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. When you do, you'll save 15%. These things start well under $100. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. Tweet at me, text the program. Check out the YouTube as well. It's Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
But because they were in the gym working out, actually running their business, they got arrested. You think that's okay?
I'm not going to opine on who gets arrested and who does not. I mean, you get where I'm going. I'm telling you, as a public health official, I say crowds.
Do you see the inconsistency, though, Doctor?
Jim Jordan trying to get his little moment there, as they all do whenever there's a hearing. Doesn't matter what the hearing's about. They're going after Fauci. I don't think it's right that you arrest business owners. If you wear a mask, you should be able to go out and do what you want. They're that effective. I think they're, I mean, unless you're Louis Gohmert, we'll talk about that in a minute. He's more like Gohmert Pyle. I think the mask gave it to me. Like somebody dipped in coronavirus. But no, we shouldn't be arresting business owners. The whole point is we need to figure out how we can stop fighting against each other. Over, it's a mask. I'm not going to wear a mask because I'm proving a point. It's like, shut up. Put a damn mask on. Stop being an a-hole. Let's try to get this thing over and done with. Who doesn't have mask fatigue? Do you know how many times I've walked out of the room, inside of the building? You shouldn't have to wear a mask in there. Well, you know what? The company that has blessed me the opportunity to run my national show out of here, their policy is mask. Do you know how frustrating it is when I walk and I take 10 steps out of the studio? It's like, man, I got to go back and find my mask. Who doesn't? I mean, you're driving and then you're going somewhere and you got to go get something and you're like tearing your car apart because you swore you had a mask with you, but you can't find it. And you're like, oh my God. Who's not frustrated? We're all frustrated. We're all having a little fatigue.
Whether the elastic is too tight or the cloth is too thick, there are a lot of reasons for mask fatigue that people who wear them for long periods are starting to experience. Nearly 3 months of wearing a face mask every day has taken a toll on the women who work at the Southern Sisters Salon in McKinney. The women who work here know that masks are necessary to stay open.
When I have long days, if it's a 12-hour day, I'm sick when I get home, like sick in my stomach. As soon as I get in the car, I'm pulling it off, and I don't want to do anything else. I just want to go home and be mask-free.
Who doesn't want that? Think about the doctors. Think about those people all the time. My doctor, he came in, and when I went and got my antibodies test a few months ago, he comes in and he takes his mask off. And he goes, you don't? I'm like, he goes, oh, thank God. But we're all pissed. We're all angry, right? Nobody wants to wear the damn mask. Takes away my freedom. What couldn't you do? Like, what has the mask singularly done to you that has robbed you of your freedom? Now, if I go work out at the park and a cop pulls over and says you need to put your mask on, I'm going to say kiss my ass. If my business that I'm in asks me to wear a mask, I'm going to wear a mask. If I'm on a walk with my kids, they say you need to wear a mask. You want to come in your house? Then we're going to debate about that. That's fine. That stuff. But the whole point is we want to get over this. We're all trying to get to the same damn place, get rid of this damn thing so we can resume our life and start to rebuild out of this giant, huge turd sandwich that 2020 has delivered to us. That is the point. That is what we're trying to do. And we're fighting over the dumbest things. We really, really are. It's insane.
People not only working in salons, but also restaurants, retailers, factories, and offices are struggling with mask fatigue with no end in sight to the order to keep them on.
Mask fatigue. Everybody's got it. We want a vaccine. We want to hear it today. It's not going to be here today. We want it taken care of today. We want to get back to life as normal. Who doesn't want that? But we keep fighting, and the debate keeps raging on.
The country, the mask debate is intensifying.
People are very passionate on both sides of the great mask debate.
The partisan mask debate is heating up.
Mask debate's growing.
The president is trying to have us cover the mask debate.
CVS, Target, and Walgreens are getting in on the mask debate.
The mask debate now taking center stage at local restaurants.
It's 9 minutes after 6 now, and there's new video of a raging mask debate. The mask debate in Georgia is getting ugly.
This mask debate is far from over.
How many mask debates have you gotten into?
He found himself in the middle of a mask debate.
So we're going to begin with this thing we're calling the Great Mask Debate.
In my lifetime, I've never gotten into kind of mask debate. I get it. Still my favorite thing. Oh Lord, 323-538-2422. We're all trying to get to the same place. Listen to Jerome Adams, a Surgeon General.
Mr. President, I want to thank you for emphasizing the 3 W's. Number 1, wash your hands. Number 2, watch your distance. Number 3, wear a mask. I was in Miami just a few weeks ago, and I promised them I would tell you this. I was in Trump country. and they told me to deliver you a message, Mr. President. They told me to tell you you look badass in a face mask. I promised them I would tell you that in Miami. I told the president he looks badass in a face mask.
Looks badass in a face mask. Speaking of face masks, you guys want to hear something hilarious? Louis Gohmert is spectacularly goofy. He is. This is... He's complete anti-masker. Just, that's all you need to know. But, I mean, like, just... He's super anti. I mean, he's Louis Gohmert.
Gohmert, a staunch ally of the president, only learned he was positive when he was required to take a test before boarding Air Force One.
So he's now positive with the coronavirus.
Masks really complicate things. This is the first time in American history when we have punished or restricted people who are not sick.
So, who are not sick. Sucks. It does. It does. I don't want to do that. And that's why I say if we all wear a mask, we should be able to go about our lives freely. Social distance a little bit, allow people to live their lives, keep businesses open. I think it's a fair thing. Wash your hands. Shouldn't be a hard thing to do. People are gross. We are gross. We're human beings. We're gross. Right? Little simple things, but wait, it gets better.
Sources say he's even scolded his staff for wearing them. And without evidence, he's now questioning whether wearing a mask led him to getting sick.
Yes. So, Gohmert is now posing the theory that it's the mask.
I can't help but wonder if by keeping a mask on and keeping it in place, that if I might have put some germs, some of the virus onto the mask and breathed it in.
Can't help but wonder that. Oh, goodness me. That is, what do you say? That stuff makes me laugh. Just like the other day, they're all sitting there scolding all the big tech companies, and they're asking the most inane questions on both sides of the aisle. Just no idea who they're dealing with. And you know that the Zuckerbergs of the world and everybody else, Tim Cook from Apple and Bezos is thinking to themselves, sweet mother of God, how did these people get elected? Who are you people? Was it Sensabaugh goes, why'd you suspend Don Jr. from Twitter? To Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg tells him what happened. It's like, I don't own Twitter. Oh, my Lord. Goodness to me. It's the mask, people. So there you go. The great debate of the mask. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. We're going to talk about voting, and the thing I just got was this is spectacular. This is how far people are willing to go to talk about the fraud that's out there and what the potential may be. It is awesome. Valor Gold Group. Kids, I'm here to tell you, if you're not in gold, you're missing out. Gold is taking off, and it is exploding. This is your chance to continue to build and build and build. If you've got a portfolio, meaning if you've got an IRA, you're out there and you've got some money, but you've seen the volatility, you're looking around, what do I do? You're scared. This is when you put money into gold. Not only can it protect amongst the insane volatility, the opportunity to start building even more wealth is real. Valor Gold Group, 800-202-6936, 800-202-6936. You're going to learn how to protect your wealth as well as build on it. Your retirement, build on it. Crashes, especially in the dollar, potential inflation, you want to be in gold. Gold and silver qualify for your IRA. Call Valor Gold Group today. 800-202-6936. You're going to get a free exclusive copy of the #1 way to protect your wealth. ValorGoldGroup.com/Chad, VALOR, goldgroup.com/Chad. Visit them today online or call 800-202-6936. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
The net effect of what you tweeted this morning and what you're talking about now to cast doubt on the results of the November 3rd election.
Well, it's had an interesting impact. I didn't know it was going to be the impact it had. What people are now looking at is, am I right? But not me. Are all these stories right about the fact that these elections will be fraudulent, they'll be fixed, they'll be rigged? And everyone's looking at it. And a lot of people are saying, that probably will happen. Please, Jennifer.
Probably will. So everybody's trying to make their point about how rigged this thing's going to be. One side is voter suppression. That's the Democrats, because how dare we ask somebody to get an ID, which everybody over the age of 16 should have a voter ID, a state ID, a license, a passport. You should have those things. Because that's the adult. Well, it's suppression. Because people can't. Why can't you get them? Whenever I hear people say, "Well, they can't get them." Well, why? Just explain to me why. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I would just like to know why, so we can try to fix it. Why can't you get it? Why? It's quiet. Because you're trying to figure out in your mind how you can make an excuse up of why. Same thing with the voter fraud, the absentee thing. Look, fraud happens, but there's a difference between rampant, insane fraud and then trying to come up with some idea of why this thing is going to be completely thrown and the Democrats are going to win. This is my favorite. He said, you can make fun of me. I think he knew once he typed it out that this was, nice guy, though. All right, so mail in. This is what he says to me, because I'm like, just show me the data. Show me the data. So this is what he says to me. He's just explaining how it's possible that there could be more fraud if it was full mail. It's possible. It's possible. And then he says, okay, Noblesville. This is what he's talking about. Very Republican place. This is well known. So mail in. So remember, this is just if you want to mail in. Not everybody's going to mail in. Some people are still going to go to the ballots, right? It's like when they always say, just because we got Netflix doesn't mean people stop going to movies. But here we go. This is what he says. I said to him, did you think after you typed out and you looked at it and you shot it off, that that's a reach? Because everybody wants to make their point. So the area is very dominated by Republicans. This is well known. Now insert a radical liberal mailman. I said, you lost me at that. So now we're at the point where, as producer Anthony put it, over the last couple of years, the Democrats have been inserting radical liberal mail carriers in Republican areas to thwart the vote. You got to go. I honestly, I'm not trying to be mean, but look, I just want the data. And I go and I look at the data. And then somebody will send me a story about, well, did you see this? Vote harvesting. It's illegal in North Carolina. It's legal in California. Well, if it's legal in California, that's on you guys to change it in California. I don't think we should have vote harvesting, but each state does its own thing. Vote harvesting is, you go out and you get votes, if you will. It's basically, it's like packing buses and driving people places. It's that kind of thing, except it's a new style of doing it. You got your ballot? Let me help you fill it out, and I'll drop it off for you. As a third party, I will come and pick up your ballot and take it somewhere. I don't like that, but in some states it's legal. But the radical mailman, or China's going to mail in 100 quadrillion ballots, and so is Russia. So the only way to do it is what? To go to the ballot box? As if that doesn't happen? Every election, I will guarantee you, mark my words, you're going to see some poll worker who's going to stick some ballots in the back of their car, or they're going to find in the trash a bunch of ballots somewhere, and they'll go, ha! Well, that's at the ballot box. Now what? Oh, my God. Now what? Don't vote at all? No. You should have an ID. You should go down, register to vote, and you have your choice of voting in person or mailing it in. Shouldn't be that hard. And yes, you should have to show an ID when you're registering yourself to vote. Should be that simple. It's not that hard. If I have to have an ID to buy cough syrup, you should be able to have an ID as an adult. That's an adult thing to do, is have an ID. That's the adult thing to do. Damn, better watch out for those radical liberal. I have a P.O. box. What about me? Oh, God, I didn't even think about that. How do you just think about what your mailman's political leanings are? Dude, you know your mailman? Yeah, he's total lib. It's a radical conservative. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me and text the program as well. I love hearing from you. I kid because I care, people. I kid because I care. But I also like data, and I want to see the data. I want to see the data. That's all. Let's change the subject. Let's have fun. Let's talk about the college scandal. Very interesting. Melissa Korn joins us. New book about that Varsity Blues scandal. Straight ahead, Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
It broke, and people were shocked, and I don't know why we should be shocked in this day and age of anything, but it was interesting. We got to peer behind the world of higher education. Joining us now is a person who covers higher education for the Wall Street Journal, as well as a co-author of a new book, Unacceptable, Privilege, Deceit, and the Making of a College Admissions Scandal. Melissa Korn joins us. And what drew you to this book where you're like, I got to write a book about this?
You cannot tell this whole story in 1 or 2 or 10 or 100 newspaper articles. You need more space, and a book allows you that space. It's just such a crazy story, and I've covered higher ed for a number of years, and I wanted to be able to tell the story of this scandal and the scheme in the context of what allowed it to happen, what the fault lines are in college admissions. So a book-length project allowed us to do that.
Yeah, and it is crazy. I mean, let's be real. I mean, we've always thought people get privileged, people have opportunity and access to a lot of different things, and to think that, you know, they don't get or have the opportunity to do stuff. But never, ever was there anything like this splashed out there of how huge this was. And you guys had some access, didn't you, to the people truly involved in this?
We did. We spoke to a lot of the primary players involved, many of them on background, so you'll never know in the book who exactly we spoke to get the information. But we did have access to a lot of the primary players, including parents and others. And I think, yeah, we all know that there are inequities in the system and that certain people, especially those with money, have some privileges. Everyone knows somebody who hired, a coach for the SAT or an essay prep person, or paid to have their kid go on a volunteer trip to Guatemala so they could put it on their resume. And we, some of us even know people whose parents have donated hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to colleges in the hopes of getting little Johnny in. But this just went so far beyond all of that in terms of the fraud, the lies, and the complexity of it all.
Yeah, it's nuts. Melissa Korn is her name. She covers higher education for the Wall Street Journal. The new book is called Unacceptable, Privilege, Deceit, and the Making of a College Admissions Scandal. So first and foremost, Mr. Singer, here's a guy who, I wonder to myself, how do you put yourself in a position to say, all right, I've got a master plan. How do I approach both administrators and college coaches as well as parents and bring it all together?
It takes a certain personality type for sure. Singer was an incredibly competitive, driven individual. He always liked to win and win by a lot. And he also did care about some of these kids. He wanted to see the kids succeed, sometimes by taking some shortcuts for sure. So he, kind of put this together piece by piece, and he worked as a college basketball coach for a little while before moving over to college counseling, and he kind of understood how the system operated and where those weak spots were, so he knew how to exploit them very well. He's also very charismatic and won people over quite quickly once he started talking about kind of what the opportunities were. So he, piece by piece, put it all together, from the test cheating, working with a proctor and test site administrators to control these testing sites for ACT and SAT. And he also put it together piece by piece with the college coaches. And some of the coaches even referred others to him to work on this all together.
When did it start to unravel? Because you talk about you have to have everything in place, Melissa, to make something like this go. And it only takes one person to truly just have a misstep or somebody to feel uncomfortable for it really to go, okay, there's a bigger picture here. And I would be in a position like him. I mean, it to me, it always flabbergasts me that did they even think that they were going to get caught at all?
Likely not. They probably wouldn't have done it if they thought that was really a possibility. There were a few close calls, and we go into some detail about them in the book, these kind of near misses where somebody almost called Singer, one of his clients, out on some misdeeds. But for somehow, we say, through inertia and a few other things, people just never quite connected the dots and said, okay, there's something really wrong here, and this is big. So it ended up all falling apart almost by accident when some Boston-based prosecutors were working on a securities fraud case and noticed that somebody that they were trying to get to cooperate in that case had money moving from his account to the account of the then Yale women's soccer coach. And the guy admitted that he was paying off the coach, bribing the coach to get his daughter in as a soccer recruit. And they then flipped that coach to start cooperating. The coach mentioned Rick Singer's name, and it all went from there. And then about 5 months later, they got Rick Singer to cooperate, and he handed over the names of all of his clients and was on recorded phone calls talking to them about everything they had done.
That is insane. Talking to Melissa Korn, the book is, well, it is unacceptable. Let's be real. The Privilege, Deceit, and the Making of the College Admission Scandal. You said something about Rick Singer is he generally cared for a lot of these kids. It doesn't feel like, it felt like everybody was trying to do what they thought was an advantage or the right thing for kids, while some were enriching themselves and some were using their money. It didn't feel like they were trying to cheat the world. They just thought they were doing something. Did you kind of get that impression that they weren't awful people, but it was wrong?
Right. I think many of them didn't even consider who would lose out if their child got an advantage. That just wasn't even part of the calculus when they were deciding whether to proceed with these plans. And after the fact, those who have pleaded guilty, many of them have said, I realized I was doing this almost more for myself than for my kid. Right. It was a badge of honor for me as a parent to say my kid got into USC or Yale or Georgetown or UT Austin, rather than this is where my kid wanted to go and I could help them do that. They wanted, they saw their success as parents based on what college their child got into.
Isn't that weird? That because when it first started to break out, Melissa, my thing was I feel like all these parents were trying to do something that was for YouTube and for bragging rights. Not YouTube, but Instagram and for bragging rights, rather than for the best interest of their kids. It was more about them.
And that's part of the sad thing here is a lot of these kids would have fared perfectly fine at whatever school they had attended, and maybe even would have found a different or better fit at a different institution. And some of these kids didn't even want to go to college at all. But
that's crazy.
This is the path you take, and the path has to go through these particular schools in order for it to really count, and for me to want to talk about you at the next cocktail party.
Absolutely. That's nuts. Talking to Melissa Korn, the new book, Unacceptable, and it was, and just it's the college craziness, the varsity blues case, lots of money changed hands, lots of things happened. Parents are going to jail, albeit I thought there was better ways that we could have done some of these things. Rick Singer, what's up with him?
Rick Singer is currently awaiting sentencing. He is out and about. He has been working on finishing his PhD, actually, which he started many, many years ago. But he won't be sentenced until after pretty much everyone else goes through their trials and everything, just because he's the cooperator. He's potentially going to be a witness at those trials. So he's out and about for at least quite a few more months, because the trials aren't starting until 2021. This is going to drag on for a long time.
What does he have left? Does he have anything left? Because he made some cash, but, does he have anything left, or is this a guy who's basically sleeping on people's couches?
Yeah, he had to forfeit all of the ill-gotten gains. He sold his house in Newport Beach area in California. He's been spotted around at various parts of the country, which I find entertaining. And kind of, I'll even get text messages from somebody saying, "I'm at a restaurant in D.C. I think that's Rick Singer, isn't it?" With a fuzzy photo of somebody at the next table over. So he's not the wealthy guy he was before, for sure. Still to be seen what he'll do after all of this. It's not. I don't think he's in high demand as a college counselor at the moment, and that's what he had made his career doing.
Yeah, I don't think he's been in high demand either. Talking to Melissa Korn, the new book is it's enthralling, the craziness and a peek behind all of the lunacy that goes on in the world of the college admissions, which is nuts. And it's called Unacceptable: Privilege, Deceit, and the Making of the College Admissions Scandals. The kids, because like you said, we saw a lot of this play out, especially among some of the super high profile kids who were trying to be influencers and were high profile in their own right, who really felt, I think, in some ways, didn't even really want to go to college, wanted to make their own path and felt like they were doing it more for their parents. What's that status like there with the parents and the kids? Is there some that it's fractured and it could be for good?
Absolutely. These are relationships that were really destroyed the morning that FBI agents went knocking on these families' doors and arrested mom and dad. We talk about in the book some of those really brutal interactions between the parents and the kids after the fact, saying, why didn't you believe in me? Why didn't you have faith in me? Why didn't you think I could do it? Why did you do this to me rather than for me? And I think there's, a lot of the families are in counseling together or trying to put the pieces back together, but that is not an easy task for sure, especially for the students who got kicked out of college as a result of all of this. There's certainly a lot of anger and bitterness and frustration and sadness and pretty much every emotion under the sun. We did talk to one of the kids involved in this, and he said he was so angry at his father at the beginning, and then it kind of faded and just turned to feeling a little bit sad for his dad, that his dad even thought this was something he had to do for him.
It is just nuts. It is nuts. So what happens from here? I mean, I look out there, Melissa, and is there more breaking? And I doubt this is the last we're going to hear of something like this, because as long as people have money, as long as people have access and privilege, it may not be the exact same, but there'll be something else that comes not too far behind it.
Right. People will always be looking for an edge. So right now we're seeing a lot of colleges go test optional, no longer requiring SAT or ACT, mostly because of the pandemic. But okay, if a school's not looking at test scores, what else are they looking at? And as soon as college counselors and certain parents know what that new criteria may be, they're going to go and kind of try to find a way to gain that. Right? There's always going to be someone trying to get ahead. The final chapter of our book is called "A System Reformed?" And I think we saw some early signs of hope that there would be some changes and some more oversight, and schools saying, yeah, we'll audit applications a little bit more, and maybe we'll make sure that that person who was recruited to join the soccer team actually joins the soccer team, which they weren't doing before. But I think there's still just a lack of admission by many that this is part of a broader problem in the way college admissions for selective schools is approached. And I think until, the first step is you admit you have a problem, right? And I still think until we get there, we're really not going to see major reform in this, and it leaves it wide open to other families finding other edges.
Absolutely. Great work. Awesome book, Unacceptable Privilege, Deceit, and the Making of the College Admission Scandal. Melissa Korn, thanks so much for joining us. And you can get this book anywhere. And congratulations on the book. Very interesting read. And who knows, there might be a part 2 and a part 3 and a part 4 and who knows what else.
Yeah, the story's, as I said, not going away anytime soon, for sure.
Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
I'm honored and I'm humbled that I am apparently among those that are being considered for this important role. It's an extraordinary group of women, and I think any one of them would do a great service to the country in support of Joe Biden.
You gonna hold him up? Susan Rice, Kamala Harris. I mean, we're down to the scant few, and he'll make his decision, he said, next week. And it'll probably have to come out and repeat it the week after that and the week after that. No, Joe, you've already done that. My buddy said, he says, all he wants to do is eat applesauce, drink Ensure, and take a 4-hour nap. It's about right. I'm like, hell, I want to do that minus the Ensure. Who doesn't want that? Cancel culture, lunacy, all of this stuff. This will make you laugh. This will. Guy decides he's canceling every offensive product.
Using a polar bear to sell your ice cream, Klondike? Did you know polar bears were extinct? Canceled. White rice, brown rice. Why they gotta be separated? Think about it. Canceled. Uncle Ben's absolutely offended by that. Paw Patrol mac and cheese. Listen, defund the police. Defund Paw Patrol. Red Baron is a fighter pilot in the German Air Force in World War I. Extremely anti-Semitic. Canceled. Selling popsicles shaped as bullets. Absolutely canceled. Rebel ice cream. Wow, why don't you just change this to soldier in the Confederate Army ice cream? Canceled. Oreo is still separating the light and the dark. If the Dixie Chicks are canceled, then so are these plates. Hey, Rice Krispie Treats, why don't you try some diversity? White. Canceled. Keebler elves. Isn't that cute? Well, it's 2020. They're called little people. Canceled.
I was happy to hear that Trader Joe's kind of did a poll amongst their customers. They did a bunch of other things, and they said, they want us. We've heard from people say that they want us to change all of these things. We're going to give that a pass. I'm like, good, some normalcy. It's what you have to do in the lunacy of the world now is you have to stand up and you have to tell them, no. I want you to change this. No. I want you to change this. Why? Because I find it offensive. No. There are things that you look out there and you go, yeah, it's time for a change. There are other things to look out there. You're just trying now to scare people into submission. And until you tell them no, they'll continue to come back over and over again. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program. Check out Chad Benson Show TV on YouTube as well. Rough Greens, my dog Doodle, bouncing around with me last night because last night was the night we feed all the other animals. He likes to come out there and watch me for whatever. No, he never did. But the last several months, because of his Rough Greens and how it's changed his life, we just take it and we sprinkle it on there. It's a supplement that has changed who he is as a dog. He's got new lease on life. We went for a walk. He was bouncing around. He jumps up and down. He's never done these things, and it's all Rough Greens. It comes with all the stuff that your dog food doesn't. It brings your dog food to life. 25 all-natural vitamins and minerals, digestive enzymes, powerful strains of probiotics, omegas 3, 6, and 9, antioxidants. If you worry about your dog's health, whether it's the long-term or maybe they've got aches and pains as they get a little bit older, Rough Greens is for you. It will be the best thing you ever do for a dog. I promise you that. 14-day jump starts, $14.95. So it's 14-day jump starts, $14.95. It is amazing. Check it out for yourself. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad or call 833-MyDog88, 833-MyDog88 or ruffgreens.com/Chad. Rough Greens, we make any pet food better. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, Instagram as well. Check out Chad Benson Show TV and the Facebook. Solid fun week. You be safe. Be kind to one another out there. Guess what, kids? We're into August. Are you ready for that? That's tomorrow. Have a good weekend. Night, Jack.
The Chad Benson Show.